have the pleasure of serving as the election commissioner for the student body elections for this year. And this is actually a special election. Two candidates. This position came about because we had the resignation of our speaker and our speaker pro tempore. We both resigned and got different positions, so here we are. I'm just going to give you an idea of how the debate will flow. So I'm going to just do a brief overview of the candidates. That's going to be first. Then I'll have a few questions that were submitted by senators. So I'll get to those, and then I'll take some questions from the audience. And then we'll have closing remarks at around, in about an hour or so. I'll do closing remarks. So yeah, it'll run for just about an hour, if you guys are both okay with that. So let's get to the overview of the candidates. First of all, give yourself a round of applause for coming out this evening. Really appreciate that. So meet the candidates. So Mr. Kevin Obwaje. I am sorry. So he's an enterprise cybersecurity major with a minor in web programming. He's a member of the National Society of Collegiate Scholars, as is Ms. Carmen. He's also a recipient of the National Flight Academy Award and the U.S. Department of Transportation Summer Transportation Internship in Diverse Group. In addition to those things, he does Dare to Lead conference, where he participates in the facilitation of an annual organizational event dedicated to initiating public service within various communities. It's also where he develops the youth and mentor them, preparing them for college admissions applications and the whole process for the 9 yards there. So that's Mr. Kevin Obwaje. Next, Senator, that's how I refer to you guys. Senator Jasmine Carmen. So she's a biology pre-med major. She's a member of ODU's national, the NAACP for short, the American Pre-Health Student Association, again, National Society for Collegiate Scholars, Black Movement Advisory Council, and she's the president of her sorority here on campus. In addition to those things, she also has multiple awards and leadership experience under her belt. She's a Global Engineers Academy team leader. She's an ODU Center for High Impact Practice peer mentor, an ODU Transition and Family Program preview counselor, and a Marshall University John C. Edwards School of Medicine SHRM intern. So Ms. Jasmine Carmen. Okay. So that's the overview of the candidates. So questions. I think that's how we're gonna do it. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's do opening statements first. And Kevin, I'll start with you. So we're gonna do opening statements, and then I'll give him, and then you'll be second. So Kevin, yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. I just want to start with a quote from Barack Obama. First of all, I want to say, be the change you wish to see in the world, be the change you want to see in others, and be the change that you expect to see from future generations. So change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we see. That is it for my opening statement.
First, I would like to say thank you all for coming, and for my opening statement, I would like to say that a strong woman empowers herself, and an even stronger woman empowers her people. I intend to stand as that woman who empowers her people as far as her gender, her people of color, and all individuals who are like her.
Awesome. Thank you guys both for your opening remarks. So I'll start off with some of the questions that I've received from senators through the lovely box that I put in the office. So what characteristics do you believe that you have that best fits you for this position? And we'll rotate the order of candidates. If you start first this time, she'll start first the next time. So either you guys can feel free to jump on that one. What characteristics do you believe you have that best fits you for this position?
The characteristics that I feel best fit me for this position would be that I am a previous leader, I am a strong leader, I'm also great with communicating. I have been a member of the Student Government Association since I transferred to the university in 2016. I also served as a senator at Norfolk State University, which shows my ability to serve in multiple facets, but also I offer diversity from being at a HBCU and now a minority serving institution. I also feel that I am adequate for this position because I have multiple facets. I am a science major and I also have a background in psychology and sociology, which develops my skills in being able to navigate and communicate well and serve the student body. Thank you.
Question is, what characteristics do you believe that you have that best fits you for the position of Speaker of the Senate?
First off, I'd like to start off by saying, although this was my first semester in SGA, I wanted to take on a greater role and be more involved in SGA. Although I had little to no experience, I was shadowing our former Speaker of the Senate, Tariq, and I was going to continue to shadow him, but unfortunately he's at an internship right now. But I would say that I am very outgoing and outspoken. I'm not scared to voice my opinion, and when I see something's wrong, I'm gonna state it and I'm gonna let it be known. I think I would say, of course, I'm very vocal. I wouldn't be up here if I wasn't vocal. I was raised in a household full of women, so I know. Listen first, but don't just listen to comprehend and gain the information. Yeah, I would say humility is a big thing. You should respect the people that came before you, look up to them, take notes, and just try to become a better you, take advice from people that came before you because you're following in their footsteps and you're just trying to get there and they've been there, so, yeah.
Thank you for that. So the next question is, what initiatives and or changes do you plan on starting if voted into the position of Speaker? So what initiatives and or changes do you plan on starting or advocating for if you become the next Speaker?
An initiative I see that I'd like to see happen on campuses. I feel like there's an issue with the parking, and there needs to be a better parking method. Obviously, the football parking lot is the main parking lot that everyone uses, and it's overcrowded. I want there to be a system that lets people know how many spots are available, if there are available spots, whether another garage is better for you to park in, and I would like to see that. I'd like to see that implemented and being in use before I graduate in 2020.
What initiatives would you implement if you were elected Speaker?
Well, I feel like in this position, the best way to start enacting new ideals would be to start from inside the organization. The first initiative that I would like to enact would be to meet with all senators and make sure they are equipped to communicate with the student body properly and communicate with one another properly so that we can carry out different ideals that need to be carried out around campus. From that, I hope to move forward in working on the respect for our campus and respect for the individuals of our community, because currently we are in a tense environment, and I believe that there needs to be more gateways and opportunities for communication positively.
Thank you both for that. Next question is kind of a very general question, but I chose it because I think it's a good one. And everyone will tell you this once you get into a position that you desire, is you have to have a why. You have to have a reason why you're wanting this position. So this question is, what's your motivation and what is your why?
I would say my motivation is, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jasmine.
Yeah, I think it's,
Okay. I'm sorry.
so my why for desiring this position is that I am in my last semester and last year here at this university. I have seen this university grow, and I know that it is now time for others and others who are in this position like me to make a difference before we leave. We need to leave every organization and infrastructure better than what it was when we came here. And so that is my why. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
So yeah, the question is, what's your motivation and what's your why?
My motivation is I want to leave an impact when I graduate from here. I'm not just here just to dilly-dally and just experience 4 years of college. I want the next generation and my siblings, when they go to college, if they come to ODU, I want them to have a good experience. I want them to say, oh yeah, my brother is right, Kevin was right, ODU is a good school. I want them to come and see, have better professors. I want them I want ODU to not just be like, oh, it's ODU, it's in Norfolk, it sucks. I want ODU to be compared to UVA, be compared to Tech, and be one of the most better known prestigious schools. Like, oh yeah, I went to ODU, I was happy to go to ODU, you know, it was a great school. And my why is, I don't want to be like, I look in the mirror every day, I'm like, how am I different? What's special about me? What's that? Change doesn't come from anything. Change comes from ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I'm an ordinary person just like y'all. But the difference is, who's gonna do that extraordinary thing? So that's why I'm here.
Thank you both for that. So the next question is, how long, and some of you you referenced this in your beginning statements, how long have you been in SGA, and what is one thing you've done since you've been involved in student government?
I have been in SGA for a semester. September 2018 was when I joined, and I like to say that being a part of the health and wellness and sustainability, can somebody help me please? Wellness and Sustainability Committee. We have implemented feminine products in all of the female bathrooms, if you guys didn't know, so they should be in the web in all female bathrooms, so girls check it out. And being part of Xander's committee, we are trying to figure out dark spots on campus, and we are trying to make ODU a safer environment, and we want there to be less dark spots and more light on campus. Yeah.
Well, I have been a member of the Student Government Association here at ODU since fall of 2016. When I entered Student Government Association, I served on the Off-Campus Student Life Committee, and I also served on the Finance Committee. While on the Off-Campus Student Life Committee, I represented myself as well as other students who are commuters, and we enacted provisions that would aid commuter students. I now serve as the committee chair of the Wellness and Sustainability, a position that I'm very proud of, and as Senator Kevin Boachier, as he said, we have enacted great new additions to the bathrooms, and we are also working on, well, as I started last semester, I began speaking of a sexual health event and sexual health campaign in which we involve students who are not only heterosexual or of the gender identity that cisgender identity. So I'm looking to have inclusive sexual health education so that we can represent the now diverse community that we have. Thank you.
All right, next question is, how comfortable are you with Robert's Rules of Order? How comfortable are you with that?
0 to 1. Very uncomfortable.
far as the Roberts Rule of Order, I have, as we mentioned before, I have served as the president of my chapter in my sorority. We use Robert's Rules of Order. I have outlined and read them many times. I actually have a description here for anyone who may need a refresher of Robert's Rules of Order. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you both. So next we're gonna get into a little bit of your platforms. Whose turn is it? Jasmine's, okay. So Ms. Senator Carmen, I'll start with you. So as a part of the application, as you both know, I did ask what your platform was specifically, and you mentioned a lot of mental health, emotional health services, and sexual orientation, race, sex, and all of that in a socio-cultural climate at the university that you would like to foster. But it mentions very little about the functions of Speaker of Senate and how you would best facilitate those functions. So whatever you'd like to say about your platform, the floor is yours.
Great. So are you asking me to say something about my platform in regards to this position or my overall platform?
Just your platform.
Great. So my platform consists of helping the student body through, as he said, emotional health, psychological health, and physical health. As it relates to serving as a Speaker of Senate, I have noticed through past sessions that some individuals feel uncomfortable speaking in front of others. Yes, we are senators and we are chosen for this position to speak for the student body, but a lot of individuals do have that uncomfortability where they do not feel that they can talk freely. So I intend to serve as a guidance to meet with the senators individually and make sure that they are comfortable representing themselves, because a senator has to represent the student body. As far as representing myself on campus, yes, that's where my platform revolves around, making sure that I am able to represent the student body in, of course, not a holistic manner, but I'll be able to represent the student body as far as ensuring that they have a positive feeling regarding their university, positive feeling regarding themselves, and of course, a positive feeling in regards to communicating with the administration. Thank you.
It's your platform. And just to be clear, the question was, what is your platform? And you said you wanted to be, because you want a more vocal role in SGA.
I want to touch up on that. I would say definitely more vocal role, but I want to, being raised, born and raised in Northern Virginia, it's very diverse there. And I see, you guys may know, ODU is no longer PWI, it is now MSI, meaning that over 30% of the student population is multicultural. So I want ODU to be an inclusive university. I don't want you to just come here and see the white students, the black students. I want every ethnic group to feel involved. I want every ethnic group to feel like they have a voice on campus. I want to see more Hispanics in SGA and Middle Easterns. I want to see people of all different ethnic groups in SGA. I want the whole community of SGA to want you to see a brochure and be like, wow, that's a really diverse group of people. And I think we're there right now, and with the growing numbers and the training numbers, we're definitely going to see more people. Definitely going to see different types of people here, but I want them to not just be here, but be here and be involved and help the community, help ODU grow, and just put VA on the map. So that's my platform.
Awesome, thank you both. So now we're just gonna get into some questions from the audience. And I don't have an extra mic, so I'll just give you my mic. So do we have any questions from the audience? All right.
Isaiah Lucas, student body president. My question is for the both of you. A part of being the Speaker of the Senate, you have to assign different senators to be committee chairs and also assign different senators to committees. So in what way will you strategically do that? How do you place people? What is your method of doing that? What will be your method of doing that?
Jasmine, you want to start?
Sure. I would choose to assign committee chairs and finding individuals who are best fit by acknowledging the individuals who take on the most responsibility. The individual steps forward. I also feel like in some circumstances it could be the individual who is not as vocal but more organized and has more time and dedication for that specific committee. Thank you.
Great response. My approach is just like a school assignment. Teacher assigns you this assignment, this project, you gotta present it. You're not passionate about it, you don't wanna do it, you BS it. So first off, I'll start off by asking the senators what they're passionate about, find their interests, find their goals, what they wanna achieve on campus, and then lead them, point them in direction which committee will best fit them, and lead them to the right director, and definitely get something going and implement their ideas on campus and just continue to grow from here.
All right, we got some more questions. So we'll go Juwan, Nikki, Sakura. Is that cool? I like that.
I'm not really one to stand up, so I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna turn around. Hi, Juwan Jacobs, Student Body Vice President. So a lot of work of Speaker of the Senate is managing your peers. And my question is, how do you plan on balancing the relationship between Speaker of the Senate and just being Kevin or just being Jasmine?
Great question, Joanne. Great question. Honestly, just being me, just being yourself. You wake up every day bettering yourself, so wow. And yeah. I definitely.
Thank you for that question. I intend to separate myself from this position and allow individuals to understand that I'm Speaker of Senate by making sure I create that separation from the beginning. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm power hungry. I don't want anyone to feel like I am a dictator. However, as any individual would act, I command respect. I want individuals to know that once we are in that position, it is time for business. Previously, I've noticed side comments and conversation and things that should not happen in the Senate chambers. And once I am in the business forum, I expect business to be conducted as such. That does not mean that fun Jasmine, goofy Jasmine is going anywhere. However, as young professionals and student leaders, this is a time where we are to discern what environment we are working in. Thank you.
Hi, Senator Williams. Oh, it's really loud. Okay, my question for you guys is, this position entails a lot of time management. You guys are doing a lot of different weekly meetings, one-on-ones. What does your schedule really look like? What does it kind of entail? How many organizations are you guys kind of involved in? And do you guys have time for in-person?
Currently, the only org I'm involved in is SGA, so all my time is going to school and SGA.
So I am heavily involved on campus. However, I manage it very well. As far as my course schedule, I've told you all before that I'm in my last semester of my senior year. So I don't have many classes to take. I only have class on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I do not have class. Yes, I do have an internship at Eastern Virginia Medical School, but I make my own hours. I only have to serve 5 hours each week at that internship. So that could be 2.5 hours one day and 2.5 hours the next. So I am very available for this responsibility. And I also believe that my involvement in multiple organizations gives me the ability to learn from them and bring them to this organization. Thank you.
Hi, Senator Boyd. Okay, to follow up with President Lucas's question about committees and committee chairs and everything, I remember Kevin, you were saying that you'd ask people or senators what committee they'd like to be in. Say there's a more popular committee and there's not enough committee members in another committee, and you know that some aren't as popular because they don't want to be in it, it's not as interesting. So how would you go about with putting senators into other committees that they don't want to be, you knowing that they're not going to do it, and you get backlash for that?
Great question, Senator Boyd. I'll start off by delegating senators who are very passionate about something and directing them to that committee and finishing that project. And once it's implemented, every semester or two, we can rotate senators. So you don't have to be in that committee. You don't have to be in PR committee the whole time. You don't have to be health and wellness the whole time. You have a health and wellness project, you're in health and wellness until that project's done. You have something you want to do in safety and transportation, you switch to safety and transportation, get it done. So new senators throughout all 5, 6 committees, make sure different ideas are getting brought in, make sure stuff is getting done, and everyone gets to feel a different committee, and not every day are you gonna be like, yeah, I just want to do this. Sometimes you're gonna change your mind. Sometimes you want to do something else. Sometimes you like pizza. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you like ketchup. Sometimes you like ranch. Sometimes you like neither. So sometimes you don't even want. Sometimes you have nothing to bring to committee. So just rotating everybody around. And yeah.
So when I first became a part of Student Government Association, I was a member of the Finance Committee. This is before I became a senator. I chose the Finance Committee because that was the only time I had available to attend committee meetings. As we all know, you have to attend the meetings to be a part of the committee. Did I want to be a part of the Finance Committee? No, but I chose the committee because it fit into my schedule and I wanted to be a part of the Student Government Association. So what did I do? I made the best of being a part of that committee. At the time, the director was Rafia Hack. I learned from her. I learned things that I did not know about my finances. And when given opportunities, such as during this time, we had a contest between committees. We were all raising money for the homeless. We had like a little thing that we could decorate. So I sat outside the library with my little bucket and I talked to people, and I basically got the experience that I was looking for, that community experience through the Finance Committee, even though it was not what I chose. So my answer here is that a true individual who wants to serve as a senator in a Student Government Association, they're gonna make it work in whatever position you put them in. There shouldn't be, oh, I really wanna do this, I don't wanna do that. No, we are a multifaceted organization. You need to work where you're needed. That's how you benefit the community. Thank you.
All right. Questions. Senator, then director, and then back to the president.
Senator Stegall, currently we have increased very largely in the number of Senate and quorum, and as speakers of the Senate elected, you all will be in charge of interviewing them. So as senator in quorum, I feel like we're more over the number of Senate versus the quantity, like how good they are, the quality of them. So as elected officials, how would you go through the interview process?
Great question, Senator Stegall. I'm glad we reached this benchmark. We have approximately 49, almost, and the cap is 50 senators. So I want everyone who's a senator in here to give themselves a round of applause. And so change has to happen. We reached the benchmark. We reached 50. Great, we have quantity, but now we need quality. So next time, not everyone's gonna be inducted. Not everyone's gonna be a senator. We need people who are driven, we need people who are motivated, and we need senators who are gonna work. If you wanna be a senator just to be like, I'm an SGA, here are the perks, no, that's not cutting it. You're not gonna be a senator.
Thank you for that question. So Yes, currently we have 49 senators. However, at the Senate meeting that we had today, 36 individuals attended. While we have had other meetings this semester, of course, the numbers have always been in the 30s. It's been 33, 34, 36. That is unacceptable. So if I am given the opportunity to serve in this position, I will be analyzing and looking through exactly what each senator is doing for the Student Government Association. That means attending their committee meetings, that means attending Senate, that means completing their office hours, because you don't want someone representing you and representing your school who is just doing it for a title or for free hats in the SJ office. I think that it needs to be better, and I feel like if I'm given this position, I will serve to hold senators accountable. Thank you.
There we go. All right, hello, Director Williams. As we all know, conflict is inevitable, and if you guys are granted the opportunity to be elected as Speaker of the Senate, how will you guys go about mitigating conflict within Senate, being that you guys will look over a lot of the senators within Senate? Thank you.
You're right, conflict is inevitable. I want SJ to be the best org at ODU. Shoot, I want Jasmine to win. I want to win. There's conflict right there. What are we gonna do about it? First thing is communication. You gotta talk it through. You gotta listen to the other side. You gotta understand. Like I said earlier, don't just listen to listen so you can say your counterpoint and just argue back. Listen to understand. You might pick up on something you never even thought you even acknowledged. When there's conflict, there's gonna be many different viewpoints, many different arguments. With conflict, I believe it's best to come to a consensus, have a third party come in if needed, and it has to be solved. There has to be a solution, and we're gonna get to that solution. And
Okay, so who asked the question? The last question. Okay, and then I think Senator Siegel asked. So I'm glad the question was asked, and I asked Juan if it was okay, and he said it was. So over break, Vice President, he messaged me and asked me about an idea that he had, and I guess others might have the idea as well. And the idea, so as you guys mentioned, and as everyone knows, we're at capacity in Senate right now. 50 senators is our max, unless it's changed at the beginning of the next school year, which you guys,
48.
and we're at 48, so we have 2 more seats left. So we're almost at max. And the idea was that the Vice President asked about was coming up with a bill that would be maybe a part of the nominations committee that would somehow review everything senators have done in their time in SGA, and would maybe weed out some of the senators based on what they have done and kind of have not done, I guess is a better way to put it. And that's kind of the question that he touched on. So how would you feel about a bill like that because I think you brought up quality over quantity is more important is what you said. So how would you feel about a potential bill that would weed out a few senators based on their lack of qualifications, their lack of activity within SGA, or what have you?
I have a question. Would this particular bill weed out senators who are already members, or would it serve as a basis for what a senator should do, like in accordance to the bylaws?
If I understood it correctly, it would be current members,
Okay.
current senators going out.
Well, I do support a bill that would create basically, so I'm assuming this would be like a review process of each senator.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
I definitely feel like this would be a positive initiative in Student Government Association, more so because in the professional world, this is something that happens when you have a mentor or a boss. There is a time to review that individual. When you have employees, there are times where you have to review that individual to make sure they are best fit for that company, or in my experience, best fit for an internship or a hospital. So I do think that for our organization, as we do stand as one of the supreme organizations of student leaders, I feel like we should be able to stand to that. Thank you.
Yeah, so how would you feel about a bill to weed out senators for their lack of activity and qualifications or whatever in Senate?
At first, I was gonna say I agree with that, but I'm gonna go against that. I'm gonna go against that, say I disapprove of that bill, because not everyone's at the same stage, not everyone's at the same level. Some people are more comfortable. One person might just hop in an SJ and boom, off the bat, running and gunning. Another person takes a time, semester to, get them running. If you're making the race, and as long as you continue to make the race, eventually there will be progress. So why are you gonna stop? Keep on running the race. Progress will be made.
Thank you both for that. So we're gonna go back to Mr. President. Back to. Okay. Anybody else have any more questions? So, actually, we do the Speaker Pro Tempore first, and then come back around.
Hello, everyone. Speaker Pro Tempore Hicks here. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to see all of you. My question is just, how do you plan on building a relationship and delegating work to your Speaker Pro Tempore if you are elected Speaker of the Senate?
So the question was, how would you delegate responsibility to your Speaker Pro Tempore once you get elected?
Thank you for that question, Speaker Pro Tempore. I feel like I will create a relationship by casually speaking, creating that communication that is needed between two individuals who are going to work closely with one another. If you mind if I reference personal communication, we just sat and talked recently. I don't feel like a professional environment always has to be tense. You have to know me. I can't just be some crazy girl saying this needs to be done. I wish to create a common understanding and also take your input and definitely have a community between us where we feel that we are comfortable and we can make this a great session with one another. Thank you.
I'm gonna use a basketball analogy here. We gotta be buddy-buddy. We gotta be like LeBron and Kyrie. Not now, but in Cleveland. If we walk in the Senate and somebody's not dressed, that doesn't only reflect on the Speaker Pro Tem, but that reflects on the Speaker of the Senate, because we're working together. We have to make Senate function the way we want it. If people are dilly-dallying and not dressing up, and everyone in the quorum's talking, I didn't do my job, you didn't do your job, and we look bad as a unit. So if I look good, I'm doing my job good, you look good, you're doing your job good, we great.
This is my last question, because I know this is my second time speaking. I have two questions. You can answer them in any order, but they're really short questions. The first one is, we have almost maximum capacity in our Senate, but we still have people in the gallery who are very much so interested in becoming a senator. What would be your conversation with those senators, with those prospective senators, to tell them, we don't have space for you, but we still want you? So how would you go about communicating that to our gallery? How do we keep them involved, even though we don't necessarily have the seats for all of them? And the second question would be, what are your top 3 expectations of senators this session?
Oh, he wanted me to say that we currently don't have an answer. That's a realistic problem. We have yet to tell the gallery what we are expecting of them as to the 2 spots that are open, maybe 3, maybe not.
You guys understand the question?
Yes, sir.
I'll start off by saying, if they meet the requirements and somebody want to add to SJ, well, we're gonna have them. We're gonna keep them in the committee. We're gonna tell them, here are committees, join one of these committees. People are graduating soon. You're gonna be in Senate soon. If you don't like it, so be it. If you're really passionate, continue to stay with us. You're on the wait list, if that sounds good, but you're somebody we want on our team. So stay with us, and if you're really about it, you'll be on the team. Talk to the expectations of new senators, of current senators. Prompt, willing to learn, willing to grow from mistakes, and maybe not a leader, but show some leader qualities, show that you can grow. Maybe you're not a leader right now, but show that you can grow and become a leader, because we are an organization full of leaders, and we expect you to bring some qualities to the table. So we want to see what you got.
Regarding the students who are interested in Student Government Association, but we don't have enough spots, I would talk to them as a group and explain to them. I feel like the biggest issue we have as a people would be, just kind of walking around the subject. You don't want to be sitting in someone's face thinking you're gonna be in a position and then knowing that you have to do it next semester or next year. I feel like you should also encourage them to be strong members of their committees and watch them grow, because you know that these individuals will, if they're still staying around, they will become senators. They will make a positive action on campus. So my answer is to not keep them in the dark. And I feel like this would best be held at their, I would say at their 3rd Senate meeting, just like a normal senator. I feel like those senators who are making those consecutive meetings need to be sat down and spoken to as far as that. And in reference to the 3 things that I expect out of our current senators, I definitely expect the current senators to not fall into the masses. Senator Siegel referenced we have so many senators, but obviously not that many are doing work. If we have these numbers, then we need to be making an impact. I would ask for students to stand out, which is my first thing. And my second expectation would be for students, senators, to communicate. I want them to communicate things that they are uncomfortable with. I'm not privy of individuals, having that shrug emotion and feeling like, I'm going to abstain, I'm going to not participate. I want the senators to communicate and make sure that they're heard. The third expectation would be to interact with the student body. I do see that we have a lot of events for senators to attend. However, I don't feel like we should be standing off like, we're Student Government Association. We don't have to interact. I want to see more smiles. I don't like walking around the web, people not knowing who we are or what we do. That's a problem. So I feel like senators need to be more outgoing and willing. Thank you.
So staying on this topic, would you support an increase in the cap size of 50? So right now we're at 48. Would you support an increase in that amount? And if so, what would that increase look like? Or potentially maybe a decrease? Where do you stand on that?
Definitely not an increase. Maybe keep it at 50. If we were to decrease, probably no more than 40, I'd say. I think 40 is a good number, and a very diverse 40.
So just to be clear, earlier you said that you would support bringing the senators in the gallery and they can't get in because we're at capacity. So you basically have them wait for the entire semester until positions become vacant? Because if you're saying you're not supporting an increase
Correct.
also.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I would not support increasing the cap of senators because what I've learned is that when you have large numbers, then you still have a small amount of people doing the work. You look big and great, but you're falling on the backs of your peers. So I feel like 50 is a great number for the cap. As far as making it smaller, I do not feel that a smaller number is adequate for our student body, adequate to represent our multiple campuses here at Old Dominion University. So I feel like our number makes a positive impact as long as we have individuals who are willing to make that impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Additional questions? Come on, y'all. We got a lot of people up in here. Y'all got no questions? You guys already asked questions. Questions. Anybody else? Thank you.
Hello, Senator Cisse. When Tariq was here, he gave us like smooth vibes. You know, everything was nice and smooth. But when things got serious, he was very serious also. So, what kind of vibe will you guys bring to Senate?
The vibe, the approach I'm going with is we are a professional organization. We dress up business professional because we are practicing for what we're going to do after we leave here. So look at my face. What vibe do you think this is?
Thank you for that question, Senator Cisse. I feel like a vibe or a person's aura is indicative of the individuals that they lead. If you all, if senators are in Senate and they're unorganized or in disarray, you know what type of tone you have to set the room. Additionally, I have witnessed in past sessions that if the Speaker of the Senate is off, then everything is off. You are the backbone of that particular meeting. You have to conduct it as such. So why I do not feel like I will have, as I referenced before, a dictator or power-hungry stare. I feel like I will definitely represent the Senate as I should. Thank you.
Awesome. Next, one more follow-up, and then I'll get to you. Okay. So sticking on the same topic. So I've been a senator, I think this is my third semester, although I am on a leave of absence this semester. And when I do come to Senate meetings at the very end, so today I'll give an example. So I don't know who, Lisa Clark was the guest speaker, but I don't think she was present when I came. When I came, it was, business was still going on, but there was a lot of back and forth. There was just a lot of talking, and even when presentations were going on, it was just very unprofessional. If I was a guest walking into that meeting, I don't think I would have taken very likely to the meeting. So how do you foster, you mentioned not being a dictator personality, and you being a woman, are you worried about, how do you foster that environment for one, and are you worried about coming across, and this only applies to you, as dictator-like or as those stereotypes that are usually associated with female leaders?
I love that question, actually. So, if I am put into this position, I will be the second female to serve as Speaker of the Senate, and I will be the first Black woman to serve as Speaker of the Senate. With that being said, I am fully aware of the stereotypes that are attributed to my gender and as far as my race. I particularly do not let things like that get to me. you all would, if I am voted into this position, the student body would have chosen me, and I would conduct myself as the student body's choice. So that means that if I'm put into this position, I will be representative, not of specifically my gender or specifically my race. I will be representative as a student leader. So if an individual feels that, and because biases and prejudices, sometimes they are in the back of our head. We don't mean to do that. If it comes to it, I will speak with them. You all know I am no stranger to talking about any issues or problems. I will speak to them, of course, in a professional manner, but I will let them know that I am full on comfortable with open communication, and I will let them get to know me, because I don't feel that an individual should be, an individual shouldn't be stereotyped as what they present physically. Thank you.
So, oh, hello. Oh, it's off. Wow. Okay, I heard that. Okay. So I don't know if this has been asked already. So, could you both just sort of name a time where you've had to like really overcome something? Has that been sort of talked about, or like anything you faced academically or since you've been here at ODU? All right, cool.
Thank you. So a time where you had to overcome something, whether academically or anything, spiritually, anything. A time where you had to overcome something.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Most of you all know that I have a grandmother who has schizophrenia and dementia. I joke about it, but obviously to a certain degree that is painful. Most people have their grandparents in normal state. Mine doesn't know who I am. So I know that as a Black woman, she was very determined. She had goals and things that she wanted to accomplish. However, she now has no memory of it. So as a Black woman, I want to make sure that I am memorable and that I accomplish all things that I intend to. Thank you. Got me with that one. Not gonna lie.
It was, oh, sorry. It was basically like, name something that you sort of had to come, or something that you felt like was challenging, that you had to deal with, whether it affected you spiritually, whatever, since you've been here at ODU.
This will be something you first generation college students can relate to if you're in my position. As I stated earlier, I was raised in a house full of women. I'm the only guy. Tragic. So I'm the oldest in my family with 2 younger sisters, and my mom and my parents are divorced. So doing everything on my own, coming from African household, you know, it's either school or nothing, you feel me? So I had to do everything on my own. I had to, like, no one was there to help me. Like, I couldn't even go to my mom, say like, what should I do here? How do I fill out FAFSA? And I want to be that leader my sisters could look up to. I want to be someone that my sister would be like, oh, okay, Kevin did it, so I could do it. And I want to graduate, and once I graduate, I could be that person they look up to. I could be like, oh, okay, so our parents didn't migrate here for nothing. We actually can make it, we actually can do something. So overcoming that, I'll say cultural barrier, and actually being in school and actually being in college and trying to further my career, further my school, gain more knowledge, and just, you know, just be successful. So hopefully the challenge is still going on, the race is still being ran, and hopefully I can finish strong. Hopefully I see you all finishing strong with me. Class of 2020, I hope to see you soon. And yeah, rain on.
Are there any more questions from the audience? Okay, so we're getting close to the hour mark. We can keep going if you guys want. Raise your hands again. So we'll do Sakura, or you haven't asked the question yet. So we'll do Mickey, Sakura,
and Juwan.
Sakura, right?
Yeah. Sakura. This is Associate Justice Mulatu. Being speaker, you have to, be able to control and conduct Senate in a proper manner and professionalism. And you also have to memorize the motions and some of, the rules and bylaws. So I was just wondering if you haven't already, known all the motions and whatnot yet, how quickly do you think you'll be up to date on knowing that and, running a proper meeting?
Although this is my first semester in SGA, I have a lot of learning to do, but I'm willing to take the time and effort to learn and to have the requirements and to fulfill the duties of Speaker of the Senate. I was shadowing former Speaker of the Senate, Tariq Terry, and I learned some of the duties. He gave me some tips, some advice on how to run Speaker, on how to handle Senate, on how to maneuver and things of that nature. So I think it will be a pretty easy task and shouldn't be that hard.
Well, I feel that as far as the motions and laws and conduct of Senate, I have a lot of experience in Senate. I have experience leading meetings from serving as president of organizations. So I have a general basis for these laws. And as far as anything additional I may memorize, I got my school flashcards right here, so I'm gonna memorize it. Thank you.
Hello again. It looks like Director Osife has the same question that I have, which is there's a lot of new people in SGA that are coming in, as well as people in the gallery. And even though there are some senators that know what's going on and how Senate meetings are run, how would you go about educating the new senators and new people in the gallery and everything on how Senate meetings are supposed to run, how you're supposed to act, what to say, what to do, and all that?
Well, they're definitely invited. I'm gonna treat them as if they're in SGA, but they're not sitting at the table. They're gonna have to sit in the gallery, unfortunately. They're definitely invited to all senator events, whether it be learning about budget consultation or going to committee meetings or just learning about the motions and what to say at this point in time and when to raise your hand and when to speak up, because they obviously want to partake in Senate. They want to become senators. They're just not senators yet, but I would say they're senators in training. So they're welcome. They're senators in my eyes, and they're welcome to participate in senator events.
In reference to the new senators, meaning they've just been elected, I know that per the bylaws, there is supposed to be a new senator orientation. So I would hold a new senator orientation and go through the expectations that I have and the duties that are necessary with them. You cannot always just send out a document and expect someone to read it. How many of y'all read the financial bylaws by yourself? Not that many. So, not that many. So I would go through it with them. As far as individuals who are interested in Student Government Association and have not become senators yet, I would take from past speakers of the Senate. When I was interested in becoming a senator, Jordan, who's also a past president of Student Government Association, he was Speaker of the Senate. I think he was a very good Speaker of the Senate. He would come out into the gallery and talk to us and tell us to contact him if we have any questions. I think that familial aspect of SGA is something that is missed. So I would just say, hey, you can email me, here's my contact information. I look forward to talking with you. Thank you.
Hello again. Very hot mic tonight. All right, so part of the job description of Speaker of the Senate, which is often overlooked, is that you sit on the nominations committee. I'm sure you are both familiar, because you are both senators, that we passed the nominations committee bill last semester, which means that you'll sit in on interviews in coordinates with myself, the Vice President, and our Chief Justice, Haley Notkin. Since we are almost at capacity, my question is, how do you plan on maneuvering in coordinates with me and Haley, the conversations that will be had in those meetings and how to tailor those meetings because we are so close to capacity? Because when you have a lot of senators, it's getting down to the wire, so you have to find people that are just one step better than the others. And sometimes that can come off as favoritism. Sometimes it can come off as, I know somebody who told you to come here, so it's looking like I'm biased. So how would you plan on having that conversation if someone is not selected?
So as far as an individual not being selected, do you mean not being selected as a senator, correct?
Yes.
I understand that at times individuals may be upset they don't make a specific requirement for that position, or if we just aren't, it just isn't for them for that particular time. I would again extend my communication and say that they can contact me, and I will sit down with them, with the mediator, of course, because in these types of situations, individuals, they aren't always the most honest. So I would ask for another person, you, Juwan, or Haley, to come speak with us so we can identify exactly what the issue is. And I will move forward from it. And I will also move forward with reassurance, because just because someone hasn't made it this particular time does not mean that it is not in their future. Thank you.
Great response, Senator Carmen. My approach would be to limit the interview process. If you're granted an interview and you show up to the interview and we believe you're a right fit, you're only gonna get the interview, you're only gonna be invited to interview if we believe you're a right fit. And the fact that we have 2 or 3 spots left, you're not getting an interview unless we think you could fulfill that last 1 or 2 spots. And then we're gonna judge it based off your interview, and if we think you're a good fit, and we believe you will do justice to Senate and the ODU community as a whole, you might get that last spot.
Thank you both. Any more questions? So,
Hi, that kind of leads me into my next question. So my question is, do you think the current process of becoming a senator is adequate? And if not, what would you change or take away or add to the process?
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
My question is, do you think the current process of becoming a senator is adequate? And if not, what would you change about that process?
In the conditions last semester, I believe it was adequate, and it did what it had to do, and it got the seats filled up. But now in these conditions, I believe it is inadequate. I believe it is somewhat adequate, but we just have to do a better job of who we allow to get an interview and who we allow into Senate. Does that answer your question, Kayla?
okay, before you go, Jasmine, just to give some clarification, the current process for a senator is you join a committee, you attend 3 Senate meetings, and you get 50 signatures. So it's pretty much a procedural thing that happens. As long as you do those 3 things, you're almost guaranteed a spot. So, and she's asking, do you think that's adequate enough right now?
Thank you. So I believe that the current process is not adequate. I feel that the 50 signatures, I feel like that could be lengthened, because I have like 200 people in one of my classes. When I was trying to become a senator, I would stand up in front of my classroom, and I literally got my signatures in one class. And I said, I introduced myself, I told them why I want to be a senator, and I explained what Student Government Association does. And I said, if you support me, please come sign. Half my class came and signed my paper. So I feel like that there should be more involvement as far as involving with people, and that definitely will help the advertisement for Student Government Association. Because like I said, we do a lot for the school, and not many individuals know where we are, what we are. They just know that they can get Scantrons from us. That's literally what they think that we are. So I feel like that will help us expand positively. And I also feel like the interview process could be more extensive. I actually, and I'm not even sure if this is allowed, when I became a senator, my interview was through email. I never sat in front of anyone. So, clean up. Everybody clean up. Thank you.
Great response, Senator Carmen. I think the 50 signatures is a good thing. It lets you become more vocal, talk to people on campus, talk to people you would have never gone in front of your class and spoke to anyone if you weren't trying to run for senator. It lets people know who you are, it lets people know about SGA, and because you could join SGA throughout the whole semester, there's multiple people doing this, so people are going to keep hearing about SGA, and it's going to recruit more people to SGA. People are going to be like, what's SGA? What do they do? What is this? What is that? And you said you didn't like the process of the 50 signatures. So what would you like to see being implemented instead of the 50 signatures?
Thank you for that question. I feel like the 50 signatures, it doesn't have to be a different process, but I feel like the number could be increased. It can be baby steps. It can be increased to 75. As far as the students engaging with individuals, I think that will aid them. So I wouldn't be, I just feel like, as I said before, when you enter an organization, you need to leave it better than when you first stepped in. So I feel like that increase would definitely set the bar to a greater standard. Thank you.
Thank you for the follow-up, Senator. Really good one. So now, what's the next question? I can't remember. So now we'll just do closing statements from both candidates. So now is your time to reintroduce your platform and provide your closing statement.
I have another quote by Obama. Like 3 quotes. While we breathe, we still hope. You can let your failures define you, but you can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. As my closing statement, as I said before, I like to make ODU more inclusive in terms of ethnic groups, in terms of diversity. I want different faces in SGA. I want to see white, black, yellow, orange, purple. I want to see different cultures in SGA. I want to see SGA. I want SGA to be that organization on campus, and I want to be a voice for the voiceless. So when it's time to vote, don't forget to vote for Kevin Aboagye for Speaker of the Senate.
My closing statement consists of a testimony. I feel like in certain instances, some people are called to be in certain positions. I feel like you have that spirit in you to lead, that spirit in you to serve at the forefront of an organization. I know that within myself and within my peers, I can see that spirit. I feel that I ignite the flame that needs to be held around the crown to lead as the Speaker of the Senate. And I appreciate you all for coming out and for supporting me. Jasmine Carmen.
So thank you all for attending this evening's debate. As a reminder, voting opens tomorrow at 5 a.m. and closes February 8th at 11:59 p.m. So yeah, voting opens tomorrow, and the link will be university announcements all over the place. But yeah, voting opens tomorrow and closes February 8th, 11:59 p.m. Thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful evening.